G'day, I'm Mark Rothfield for Club Marine TV. Today we're looking at the Cap Camarat 12.5 Walkaround from Jeanneau. Over my shoulder is the Whitsundays, and I honestly can't think of a place I'd rather be or a boat I'd rather be on. The two are just made for each other. But I better do some work, so let's take a look. Thought we'd start this test talking about the performance, because with 900 horsepower on the back, this really is a driver's boat. The hull was designed by American Michael Peters, who's an absolute guru in the racing circles over there, and Saranzan Yacht Design, a French company, collaborated as well on the styling. Together they've come up with a boat that doesn't just look fantastic, it really performs beautifully as well. The hull has a fairly conventional 21-degree dead rise at the transom. There's no fancy steps or anything, just a couple of strakes and really nice wide chines that keep it stable and also throw that chop well away. What you do have, of course, is 900 horsepower, and a hull has to be pretty capable to handle that sort of power. In America though, I guess 3 outboards is just a good start. They like 5 or 6 over there. The boat has twin fuel tanks under the cockpit, which take 1150 litres all up. Of course, it causes a mathematical problem, because how does 3 motors go into 2 fuel tanks? Well, the answer is there's this switch on the dash for the middle motor, and at a certain stage the skipper has to remember to switch that over and it'll start drawing automatically from the other tank. I really like that you drive from the centre line and almost amidships in the boat, so you not only get a good view, it's a really nice ride from here as well. You feel high up, so you can see the bow, you can see the transom when you're reversing, and in busy waterways you'll be in total control. I'm using one throttle at the moment, that's controlling all 3 engines. Same when you're using the joystick, you get that precise control. I might just have a go at that now, just so you know what it feels like. Having 3 propellers in the water makes life so much easier when you're berthing. The other feature that's more than paid for itself today is the skyhook control that comes as part of this joystick. It holds you in station when you're tending to your fenders and your mooring lines. One thing I should add is that Jeanneau usually put Yamahas on the back. With the 300s, that's a 4.2 litre V6. With the Mercuries that the owner specified, they're a 4.6 litre V8. So you get that extra muscle when you need to get up on the plane. Bringing it up now, let's just grabbing it around about that 2000 revs marks. We're still not on the plane yet. Fuel flows jumped around 40 litres an hour. Boat's very comfortably doing 9 knots, so good for those sort of conditions where you need to get out of marinas or so on. Bring it up now, let's get her up and over the planing hump. Give it some power there. You can hear those motors. The props take just a couple of seconds to bite, but when they do, man, off we go. 21, 23, 25 knots. The digital speedo on this Garmin screen just keeps climbing. There we are at 29 and a half, 30 knots. We are going downwind, so I really want to see if we can get close to that 45 knot top speed I've heard about. And here we go. You can feel that mid-range punch, that torque. It's fantastic. And there we go, 44 knots down breeze. Fuel is now 260 litres an hour. That's drinking pretty heavily from the 1150 litre tank. The boat is taking care of all its own trimming with the zip wakes and the Mercury active system. So really all I have to do is hold on and point this boat towards Hamilton Island. Probably making life a little bit hard for the cameraman, but honestly I'm enjoying myself so much. You really do feel like just gunning it, because you know it can handle it. The passengers are fine, they're getting a soft ride. There's nothing aggressive in the turns. It's so beautiful up here in the Whitsundays. I must say, it's been an absolute pleasure coming here today to see that white sand, the blue water. But here you do want to go quickly. So mainland to Hayman Island in 25 minutes. What you want with a family boat, particularly one that's going to operate in choppy conditions, you want that sort of all-round performance. Yes, you can do 40 knots if you have to get back in a hurry, the storm's coming, or you're late for lunch, but I think I'd be driving at around about that sort of 4,000 rev mark. Fuel usage has dropped down to 144 litres an hour. That's total. Such an enjoyable boat. Very well sorted. I think it's time to head into a bay now, drop anchor, and let's have a better look around. First, a quick history lesson. The Cap Camarat brand has been around for 40 years and there are 35,000 of them sprinkled all across the globe. The size range has gradually increased to 9 metres, then to 10.5 metres and to this 12.5, which actually measures 12 metres in hull length. This is the biggest ever Jeanneau in terms of outboard power. It's also the first to offer these triple motors, although you can have twin 450s if you prefer. The great thing about outboards is that you can lift them out of the water. That allows you to reduce the draft, it allows you to reduce the maintenance, and at the end of the day, you can put the boat in either a dry dock or a sea pen. Should also mention these boarding platforms. They extend a long way aft, so it protects the motors when you're reversing into a berth. Also makes it obviously easier when you're getting on board. And while there's only one walkway, which is to port, you can actually cross over the boat from the starboard side on this transom bridge. Who needs a full boarding platform when you have this electrically lowering terrace? Really opens up the cockpit beautifully. You can secure it with a balustrade lifeline if you'd like to. Also can place your swim platform down here so it's nice and safe away from the motors. Moving into the cockpit, you have a choice of a polyester table here if you're into fishing. In this case, they've gone for this teak arrangement with the folding leaves. This whole unit drops down on pedestals to form a giant sun pad. To make it even larger, this backrest also hinges down so you get one big flat area. Beneath the starboard lounge is a large locker with drainage, so it doubles as an icebox. You can also put your snorkeling gear in there. Under the rear lounge, there's room for a life raft, and under the floor goes an optional gen set and a Seakeeper 3 gyro. Taking pride of place in the cockpit is this brilliant American style galley. It's modular, so you can actually choose what components you have. In this case, it has an electric grill for your barbecue. They've optioned it with a live well, and to port side you get a single sink. You can alternatively, if you don't want that live well, have a larger sink. Underneath there's room for your fridges. There's an ice box in here and also really good storage. Absolutely essential for warmer climates like this is this shore shade telescopic awning that at the push of a button slides right out and protects the cockpit. Great in a breeze as well. If you want something simpler, you can just hang a shade awning off this T-top and suspend it off poles. There's pre-rigging for a television, so this panel hinges down and you can sit on your aft lounge and watch television. You can spec this console with just a standard bimini, but for me, this T-top isn't just optional, it's integral to the boat. It gives a really nice solid and protected feel to the helm. You get these 3 bolster seats, all got their own armrests, really comfortable facing forward, so you can lower the bolsters when you need to drive and be seated for longer distances. Looking around the helm, you get the Mercury instrumentation, you get twin 16-inch Garmin screens with all the information you're going to need. You can have 12-inch if you prefer, but honestly I love the 16s. They call it a walk around, but to be honest, the starboard side is a little bit narrow. The port side more than compensates. You get this really nice protection here, thigh-high rails, good hand support as you come forwards. I did notice that the teenagers we had on board earlier gravitated to this bow area, and why wouldn't you? You get these 3 forward-facing lounges with the comfortable backrests. They've each got their own armrest, and another nice touch, this central cushion actually folds forward, so you get your drink holders up here. Also allows light into the cabin below. This whole area can be covered by another UV shade cloth. It suspends from the top of the T-top and comes forward and is deployed on carbon fibre poles. These 3 lounges flow seamlessly into this nice C-shaped bow seating area. You can have a table erected here. You've got 2 speakers for your music. And the other thing I should mention is the anchoring system. It's really important in the Whitsundays where you get big tidal differences and strong winds to have a robust system, because you are putting out a lot of chain. In this case, you've got a really nice deep well. It's got a Lumar winch inside it. The anchor sits out on its own sprit when you're underway, so it's nice and secure. And of course, curious little fingers and toes are protected by this fiberglass hatch. Come down that 4-step companionway and you are in for a very pleasant surprise, as a day boat suddenly becomes a genuine weekender for 4 people. Really like the fact that there's a lower galley. You may not use it because you've got the upstairs galley, but if you do, 2-burner electric hob. It's got a sink, you've got really good refrigeration, lots of storage. Opposite, you've got a full head compartment with a walk-in shower, even things like Corian bench tops. As you come up the size ranks, you also go up the luxury ranks. I really love this V cabin. You get a lounge with enough seating for 6 or 7 people, drop leaf table that can actually lower, and with an infill become a huge double bed. It's got nice sort of mood lighting down here, plenty of natural lighting and ventilation comes through the hatches. And when you want a little bit more privacy at night, really nice feature here is that a curtain can draw right across this area. So looking aft, you get a full beam master suite, which isn't quite as grand as it sounds because you are limited in headroom. There's full standing headroom when you walk in, but now about 90 centimetres above the bed. You've also got a settee, so you can actually sit straight down when you come into the cabin. My wife's been on board and she noticed this drawer here. It's got a little vanity. Everything can just store in there. You'd be quite comfortable sleeping down here, especially when you've got the air conditioning running. If ever there was a boat tailor-made for this tropical lifestyle, it's this one. A 40-footer that puts the ship in sun worship. The owner is using it as a fast family day boat, which is what's important to him. He's buying time and he's buying happiness. You too can buy this boat from $780,000 or $1 million as tested. I'm Mark Rothfield for Club Marine TV. See you next time.